It's 5 o'clock somewhere. The Texans may have found the perfect combination. Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tuned into the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. Tell them sorry sent you. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. What's going on, y'all? Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel. Got some great things over on that YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. For those of you all who have subscribed here recently, I really appreciate that. I got some more some more stuff that's about to come out here. As a matter of fact, as soon as I get off of this podcast, and it's starting early, right? The Texans Happy Hour is starting just a tad bit earlier than the 5:30 time frame, which I'm trying to set and make sure that I keep it consistent at that time. I want to keep it consistent at 5:30 when at least 3 times out the week, probably be Monday. No, probably 4 times. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'll probably do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 5:30. No, Monday, Wednesday, we'll get it together. I promise you we'll get it together. I got it. But start a little bit early because, Fridays is what? Date night in the Bearfield household. So, me and Mrs. Sarge, we're going to go out on a date. I try to take every opportunity that I can to spend time with my wife, because, when you are a seasoned credential media member in 2 sports, covering 2 professional teams in the Houston Rockets and the Houston Texans, like that takes up a lot of your time. It takes up a lot of your time. And so whenever I can, whenever I get the opportunity, whenever I get the chance, whenever I get the opportunity, I like to spend time with my wife. And now that training camp has started, football season is back. I'm going to be, there's a lot of moving and shaking that I have to do in training camp. Then I'll be gone to West Virginia, here in about a week. So I'll be up there for a week, come back and, hit the ground running. And then during that time, the Houston Rockets have, they got KD on the team now. And so that's going to pick up here pretty soon. And it's going to be a lot going on. Now, my wife does travel with me for the majority of the trips during football season. There's some places she's been and she's not going back to. Like she does not want to go back to Indianapolis. She does not want to go back to Tennessee, but that's only because we got sick in Tennessee. Then we went again, and she didn't even go to the game. Her and her youngest daughter went to Dollywood again. We went to Dollywood the first time. She took her daughter the second time. She's not particularly fond of going to Tennessee, but she really does love Tennessee because she's a huge country music fan. I like country music as well. So, but some of those trips she'll be, accompanying me on. Like I think in October, it's crazy. In October, we're gone like for 3 weekends in a row. That first weekend we'll be in Baltimore when the Houston Texans will take on the Baltimore Ravens. And then that following weekend, because her birthday is in October, that following weekend we'll be gone to Denver for her birthday, and then we come back, and then we leave for Seattle when the Texans play the Seahawks. So as I digress, I just try to make sure that I spend a lot of time with her when I can, so, Fridays, try to do date night, right? Friday, I try to do date night. Now I ain't look, so, and because we do have date night, I'm just drinking on this Celsius right here. That's all, just drinking on this Celsius. That's it. I don't have any liquor. There's no alcohol. But if you would like some wine, make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. All right, once again, you're tuned into the Texans Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Did I say follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end? Because we do everything for the gram, right? Everything for the gram. And if I didn't, I'm saying it now. On today's show, you see the title of the show, Texas may have found the perfect combination. And what I mean by the perfect combination is they may have found the perfect combination on the offensive side of the ball with first-year offensive coordinator Nick Caley and offensive line coach Cole Popovich. Now, something new that I'm going to introduce to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and the Texans Happy Hour, something that I'm going to introduce is I will be giving you all, for those of you all who don't catch the live stream of the press conferences that the Houston Texans do, I will be doing them on the show. Playing the press conferences. Now, not every show, but for a lot of these shows, especially when it's something very important, or something that I definitely feel like you need to hear, I will be playing the press conferences in its entirety from the coaches and the players. And so on Friday, we had an opportunity to speak to the position coaches, and then we also got a chance to speak to the coordinators and special teams coordinator Frank Ross, offensive coordinator Nick Caley, and defensive coordinator Matt Burke. And then, on the side, like I said, we got a chance to talk to the position coaches. And so on the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel, I'm going to upload some of the conversations that I had, the one-on-one conversations I had with Stephen Adegoji, the safeties coach, Dino Vasso, the cornerbacks coach, Jake Moreland, the tight ends coach, Danny Barrett, the running backs coach. I think that's all that I had an opportunity to talk to. Have a ball full of that family hall. The Texas operation comes across as a real sink right now. Yes, they do, Senior Boble. And for the people that's in the chat, let me go ahead and make sure I speak. What's up, Senior Boble? What's up, King Kobe 713 Gaming? King Kobe asked me, good afternoon, Sarge and chat. Were you able to talk to Coach Wright? No. And the reason why I did not talk to Coach Wright is because I'm going to get an exclusive one-on-one with Coach Wright, just like I had last season. I had an exclusive one-on-one with Coach Wright. So I'm going to have an exclusive one-on-one with him when I get to West Virginia. I have a one-on-one with him, and I have a one-on-one with Cole Popovich that I will be doing in West Virginia. That's why it's so important and imperative that you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and to the Texas Tailgate Talk, all one word, YouTube page, plus follow me on social, because in West Virginia, the media will be limited and we'll have more access to be able to do, it will have more access, and I will have more access to be able to bring you more. Like, I got a really big exclusive coming up in West Virginia. And so I can't wait. Jay Trill, what's going on? King Kobe already. That's a bit. I'll be looking out for those, of course. And so, look, before I get this show started, let me tell you all this. Hey, the show don't stop when I go to West Virginia. Don't think that I'm going to go to West Virginia and you're not going to get any live shows. No, this microphone and this board, half board, will travel. One or two of these ring lights will travel. Hell, if I gotta pay for baggage, then I'm gonna make it worth it. And hey, content creation is competitive. Content creation is a sport, and I'm not losing. I'm not losing. All I do is win, no matter what, all the time. All the time. So, hey, y'all will be getting exclusive interviews. You will be hearing from your local your local media members who cover the Houston Texans that are traveling to West Virginia. You will be getting shows. You probably, because there ain't too much I'm going to be doing in West Virginia outside of working and being at the hotel. You're going to get shows as well. Huh? Oh. DQ. What's going on, y'all? So, as I digress, right? As I digress, the Texans may have found the perfect combination in offensive coordinator Nick Caley. What's up, Broderick Brooks? Reverend Broderick Brooks Sr., my bad. Yeah, the Texans may have found the perfect combination in offensive coordinator Nick Caley and Cole Popovich. We've only been we've only seen 3 days of training camp. And day 1 and day 2, day 1, they were getting acclimated. We talked about that, getting reacclimated to being back playing, in a routine as far as football is concerned. Day 2, they picked it up a little bit, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Day 3 was really light. Day 3 was the equivalent to what they would do before a game, like what we would see on a Friday. Like, no, of course they're not in pads yet. They don't go into pads until Monday. So for those of you all who plan on attending on Saturday, they will not be in pads. They will go to pads on Monday. And for those who are coming out on Monday, you'll get an opportunity to see them in pads. But it was basically a walkthrough today. So there wasn't really too much to report outside of the interviews that we did. But, there's nothing that we seen that would have been noteworthy to report on quickly and to talk about quickly, except for me. Now, I got one thing. And before we talk about the offensive side of the ball, because I'm going to talk about the defense side of the ball too. I would love for you to hear what Matt Burke had to say in his press conference today. But, hey, I talked to Dino Basso about rookie Jalen Smith, the cornerback out of USC. I'm going to put I'm going to clip that up and I'm going to put it out on my social media, and it's going to be uploaded as a short on the YouTube page. I would love for you to go and check it out on the YouTube page at Texas Tailgate Talk, all one word. And so they split up. So they had the first team offense, first team defense on one side of the field. And then they had second team defense, second team offense, second team defense on the other side. Well, Jalen Smith was on. Let me make sure I got this microphone right. My bad, you all. I'm not speaking into the microphone. Jalen Smith was on the side with the first team. And he was pretty much backing up Derek Stingley Jr. And the one thing that I took notice of, I don't know who else. I don't know who else. All I know is that I observed it. I noticed it, is that Derek was talking to him a lot. Which lets you know he sees something in him. He talks to Jalen Smith like he talked to Kamari last season. Kamari was always around him. Kamari was always picking his brain. Jalen Smith is the exact same way. And Derek Stingley, because, by all intents and measures, he's like the big vet. I think that I have this thing written down. Y'all give me a second. because this is the Texans happy hour, so you know how we do it over here. Yeah, so because I got to do this show. I got to do a podcast on this. I'll probably do the podcast on this today. I'll probably do the podcast on this today and then have this out for you all so you'll have something to listen to on Saturday morning. So there's 3 players still on the team that if you take a look at, they've three key contributors on the Houston Texans team right now that went through that tumultuous time, that pre D'Amico Ryans, that PDR pre D'Amico Ryans in Nico Collins, Derek Stingley Jr., and Titus Howard. And so Stingley is going into his 4th season. Derek Stingley is going into his 4th year. So now Derek is like the big vet. Just like Nico's the big vet on the offensive side of the ball for the wide receivers, Derek Stingley Jr. is the big vet on the defensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to the cornerbacks. And so he really does take it upon himself to give those younger guys everything that he has. He gives them everything that he has, all the knowledge that he has. He imparts them. He tells them the things that he does. He tells them where he messes up and what he needs to improve on. And he also, Derek takes the feedback too. Derek will take the feedback from them, because in Derek's mind, we all work as a unit. So let me say it like this, right? And a lot of y'all ain't gonna get this from wherever you get your other content from. I'm gonna tell it to you like this, right? Come closer. Listen to this. Let me tell you this. So Derek Stingley Jr. doesn't look at the All-Pro. He doesn't look at being selected to first team All-Pro as a Derek Stingley Jr. accomplishment, even though it is a Derek Stingley Jr. accomplishment. Derek Stingley looks at it as a team accomplishment, a team award. He don't want you to, he know he made first team All-Pro. He appreciates that. He got the bag from it, but he looks at it as a team award. When you talk to Derek Stingley Jr., as I have, about the All-Pro, he'll quickly tell you, hey, I couldn't have done it without the defensive line. I couldn't have done it without the linebackers. I couldn't have done it without the rest of the defensive backs. I couldn't have done it without the way Kamari was playing on the other side. I couldn't have done it without the way Kalen Bullock was playing behind me. He's talking about 2 rookies. But he doesn't look at it as an individual accomplishment. He looks at it as a team award, and especially a team award, a defensive award. But he'll quickly tell you, like, this is not just my All-Pro. This is our All-Pro. And you remember last season, Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock just would call him All-Pro Sting before he was even selected. They called him All-Pro Sting. And so Derek Stingley doesn't look at the award as, even though his name is on the award, even though he made first team All-Pro, he looks at it as, hey, this is my award. This is Kamari's award. Kamari got a piece of this award. Kalen got a piece of this award. Aziz got a piece of this award. Henry Toa got a piece of this award. Will Anderson Jr., Tim Settle Jr., Mario Edwards, Derek Barnett, Daniil Hunter, anybody that contributed to playing on that defensive side of the ball with him. So I preface my statement to say that watching him take Jalen Smith under his wing, put him under his wing, and teach him and talk with him and get him acclimated to playing the style of football that not only that Matt Burke and D'Amico Ryans want, but what Dino Vasso wants as well. Dino Vasso is the cornerbacks coach. Derek knows exactly what Dino wants. It's almost like they share a brain. Then he takes that and he imparts that into the younger players. And then you even look at a player like Kamari Lassiter. He's only going into his second year, but he's soaked up so much knowledge from Dino and so much knowledge from Derek that he also imparts that into Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed, they're not that look, they're because when the rookies come in, of course, they hang together. And Kamari and Kalen, they won and won. They won and won. Not 1A, not 1A and 1B. They won. Like they're one. And Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed are that exact same way. And they emulate and they make sure that they're around Kamari and Kalen as much as they can, not only because they play that same position, but they see their closeness and how they move and how they approach the game. The mindset to approach the game is something that stands out anytime you start talking about Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock. And then we already know what Derek Stingley Jr., what he brings. And so, like I said, on today, I got an opportunity to watch I watched Derek make sure, even though it was just, it was the equivalent to a walkthrough, him in part. And so I talked with Dino Basso after practice about Jalen Smith. I'll clip that up and I'll put that out on the YouTube page. I may not put that. Y'all tell me what y'all want. Should I put it on Twitter, or should I just exclusively put that on the Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube page? Y'all let me know what I should do. All right. Once again, you tune into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Just checking the time because I got me a date, and I will not be late, and it will be so great. Great. Sorry, I got a date. I am excited about spending time with my wife. So let's jump right into this thing. Texas may have found the perfect combination. Let's listen to Houston Texans offensive coordinator Nick Caley.
Hi, I'm in there. How's it going? Good. Yeah, more time with the guys in its simplest form. And then obviously once we get through this acclimation period, get the pads on, really get to see the physicality, get to see the pads come to life and, affect the run game, play action, stuff like that. Yeah, he's doing a good job. Enjoy being around him every single day, growing every day. So it's been a lot of fun. What was the first thing you said? I'm sorry, I couldn't. I don't know if it was more by design or if the weather was part of it, to be honest with you. I think it was more weather related than anything else.
Everyone describes you as very energetic on the sidelines. What are you trying to bring to the players when it comes to energy?
I'm just trying to bring the best that I can do for them every single day, and naturally probably a high energy guy, I guess. So, just trying to be myself and pour into the guys. Yeah. Well, I think, there's a lot of things you do. There's discipline, there's mental toughness in terms of being precise with motions, being precise and breaking the huddle with a clean operation, whether it's cadence, changing up cadences, whether it's putting guys in different spots that, mixing some different formations that they may have to, run the same concept for multiple formations. So it taxes you mentally too, not just physically. I think it'll manifest itself, to be honest with you. I think it'll naturally happen. There's a progression. We got really good competition right now. So I think we're just trying to give as many reps. And again, once we get the pads on, I think that's the truest measure of the evaluation part of it. But I've been really pleased. I know we've been really pleased with where they've grown. And we've got a really good group of guys that are hungry to learn. Yep.
How do you balance when you're trying to figure out maybe what that starting five will be? How do you balance with that consistency with the same five guys, or plug and play different guys, like you said, with different formations and try to find the best?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it started in the spring, exposing them to maybe something that may have been different, may not have been different, and then obviously through camp here. But I mean, it's a full evaluation from a spring to fall setting, and I think you put them in as many situations as you can, and then you start to refine some things, or you start to feel with, once we start getting the pads on, once we have some practices, with the pads on, you get into joint practices, you get into the preseason games. I think things start to declare a little bit more, and then you tweak things as you go.
Since you know Cole so well,
Yep.
talk about him as a coach and why you wanted to keep him developing.
Yeah, because I have a lot of respect. I think he's a phenomenal coach. He's really smart. He's an extremely hard worker. He really cares about the guys. He is a mentally and physically tough dude. I mean, look at him. He looks like he could squat a house for sure. But he got a lot of experience with him. Been through a lot of, games with him in the past, dating back to New England, and he's always growing. I mean, he's really always searching to be the best that he can be. He's got a growth mindset, and I'm really thankful that we get to work together again.
A few guys who said this is kind of similar to the New England system that was here in 2019. What is it like kind of taking those things and kind of being open-minded and maybe making changes around players while having that system?
Yeah, I mean, we're all a byproduct of our experiences, right? So this is not a New England system, and it's our system, and it's going to evolve, and that's personnel driven, but it's finding out what we can do. But also, I think from starting with the players and things that they've had success with, things that they've done well here, they've done a lot of things well here. We have a great coaching staff that all have different experiences. I'm really blessed to be around those guys, and we're just trying to formulate what's best for us as we get going here.
Aziz mentioned that you know him since he was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I quoted him at NBU. He mentioned it's not until now that you guys coincide where it's coach and player at the same time.
Yeah.
Just talk about that relationship that you've never built since then. Talk about you always kept in touch with him.
Yeah, I love Aziz. Talk about an ultimate competitor, a guy that pours everything he has into it. I remember going to Hillsborough High School in Tampa and watching him and calling our defensive coordinator, Rock Bellantoni, and saying, you got to come see this guy. He had a fire about him. He played and gave you everything he had. He's a great human being. He's a great person. I love Aziz. And it's just fate that we're back here, and I'm really excited to be a part of the team with him.
What's it like moving in, not just Christian as a veteran receiver, but getting two rookies ready?
Yeah, well, it's fun. To put it simply, they're pros. Our veterans, such as CK, lead by example. They're pros. They work, and those young guys have come in, and you got to kick them out of the building. They're great human beings. They've got great pedigree. They're made of good fabric, and no, it's a lot of fun.
What do you like early on from Mercer and what you've seen from him?
He just keeps improving, and that's a testament to him, and he cares, and he's working really hard at it.
We all know how talented your offense is, but what's something that's surprised you about this team?
I don't know that anything surprised me because I don't think I've tried to come into this with any set expectations. I think that kind of sets you up for, things that I don't try to go into it with expectations. We got a group of guys starting with D'Amico and Nick on down, the leadership on the team that are hardworking guys, and I know this, like, whatever level of football it is, when your best players are your hardest workers, it kind of sets the tone for everybody else. And we've got really, really good people here that work hard, that love football, and we're just trying to keep it moving in the right direction.
That was Texas offensive coordinator Nick Caley. And, I wrote some of the I have the transcripts here, so some of the things that he talked about. And I wanted you all to hear it because I would have done it justice by trying to tell you, hey, Nick Caley said this and Nick Caley said that. No, I needed you to hear it for yourself. And I also just needed, for some of you all, that was your first time ever seeing Nick Caley. So you needed to see Nick Caley. You need to hear him and hear his voice. someone, and at that time I was in the midst of doing something else, but I wanted to pull it up when they asked him the about it, and he said that it's not a New England system. It's not a New England system. And what he did was he echoed the sentiments of what DeMeco Ryans said in his press conference earlier in the week, that this isn't a New England system. This isn't a Los Angeles Rams system. This is a Houston Texans system. That's what it is. It is a Houston Texans system. And it's a system designed for the Houston Texans. Now, if you were with me on Thursday during the happy hour, you remember me telling you all that I got an opportunity to speak with one of the wide receivers after practice on Thursday, and he was telling me that he loved this new offense, especially what he's been able to see and what he's been able to do on the field. Just being excited about seeing some of the new route concepts and some of the things that the offense is going to be able to do. I told you all about a week ago about what Nico Collins told me at his youth football camp about this offense. So, when you look at it, and you listen to what he's saying, I think that they may have gotten the right guy. Now, don't get me wrong, because when Bobby first came, Bobby said a lot of things as well. Bobby said a lot of things during his press conference, but it just seems a little bit different. And one of the reasons why it seems a little bit different, just because you can honestly and truly see, not only the passion, like there's a different aura about Nick Caley. Like there's just something different. I'm not saying Bobby didn't have an aura about him, but Bobby's aura is more. So let me put it like this, right? Maybe I can put it like this. I can see Bobby Slowick being a general manager. Like I offensive coordinator, head coach, that may not work out for Bobby Slowick. I think that he is so intelligent that he can be a general manager one day. I think he can be a general manager one day. Bobby is very, very smart. He's very smart. And, he just so happened to be in the line. I think that his father was a coach. And so Bobby knows the X's and O's. He knows the ins and outs. But I can see Bobby being in an organization, but as like the general manager or like a team president or something to that effect. Nick Caley, Bill Belichick. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Nick Caley is Bill Belichick. I'm not saying that. I'm not. Let me make sure I say that, because, you got some guys out there that love to get together and then they start screaming, so it said that Nick Caley was Bill Belichick. I am not saying that. I'm not. I have not seen this man call one play in the NFL game yet. His aura gives off he loves the game of football. He loves just being around football the same way Bill Belichick is. He just loves being around the game of football. And Nick Caley gives off that vibe. Nick Caley gives off that I need to be around the game, doing something part of the game. I need to be constantly evolving in the game of football. I can't see Nick Caley ever being a general manager. He could be. I mean, because him and Nick Caserio are like really good friends. But there's two sides to Texans general manager Nick Caserio, right? There's two sides to Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio does know the game of football. He knows the game of football. He also knows the business side and the other side of football. So I can see Nick Caserio working and helping Bobby Slowick to become a general manager, and I can see him helping Nick Caley get his feet wet as an offensive coordinator, move up to a head coaching position, and then eventually, after he's tired of coaching, maybe he could be a GM. But the way that Nick Caley loves the game and the way that you hear, I don't know if you all remember this or not, when during mandatory minicamp, when CJ spoke, and they asked him about Nick Caley, and he was like, yo, this dude is passionate. Was that, or maybe that was before OTAs, but it was one of those times, and I can find the clip, but he was like, yo, this guy has a lot of energy. He has a lot of energy. He's always motivated and always on the go. And so that's why I wanted you to get an opportunity for some of you all. That's the first time you all seeing him and hearing him talk. And, like I said, he spoke on the offensive system. He spoke on giving, what CJ will have. He spoke on the offensive line. He spoke about moving forward into the training camp and moving on to the preseason games. And the things I hear about Nick Caley, even though he's still so the things I hear about Nick Caley from the players, I didn't hear that about Bobby Slowick from the players. It was just different. Like the way that they talk about Nick Caley, the way and I'm talking about on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, right? On the offense and the defensive side of the ball, even when you're just listening to the players talk about Nick Caley, there's just a different type of conversation that's being had than it was the first year of Bobby Slowick. And I don't want to discredit Bobby like he doesn't know the game, but the advantage, and I think that you all have heard me talk about this on the show before, the advantage that Nick Caley has is that he has coached a position. And being a positions coach and knowing what that entails, like those position coaches, they work hard. They work hard because they have to make sure that their position group is up to par, up to standard, up to whatever the way the coaches want it to be. And I'm talking about on any team. And then they have to take that and give it the defensive coordinator so they can install that, and then get with the offensive and the defensive coordinator, put that stuff together. Then they got to present it to the head coach. And that game plan has to be on par every week. And if it's not, then hey, look, if you was at the stadium, at the practice facility for 16 hours a day last week, then this week I might need you to stay 19 hours. Matter of fact, hey, just go ahead and we got some team blankets. I can get you a team snuggie, and you can sleep in this office until you can get it right. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's what Nick Caley is about, and that's what he gives off. I'm not leaving this place until the job is done. I ain't going nowhere until the job is done. So, Texans may have found the perfect combination. You heard from Nick Caley. Now, let's hear from Cole Popovich himself. Here we go. Boo boo ba doo, boo boo ba doo ba doo, boo 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 boo. Okay.
I think kind of the whole thing's different. As an assistant, you're not trying to get the guys to do what you want them to do. You're trying to get what the head guy wants them to do. And now there's collaboration that happens there. But to me, I've been assistant plenty, and your job is to assist the head guy, right? So it's just completely different, having the room for yourself, because you're the final say. It's all your techniques. It's what you want to do. And so it's just completely different.
There's a good value in being an assistant and kind of getting a grasp of what was done before and then taking over. Is there an advantage to that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if like there was some real continuity in like a system, but like so much stuff has changed here now. So I don't know. I don't know if it really helps. Now it helps you be an assistant and you learn from someone else that's done it way longer than you. Obviously, back in New England, being with Dante for all those years, like that was so valuable. And then being with Chris these last 2 years, who's had a tremendous amount of success throughout his career, right? Like all those Boise teams everybody remembers. So that was his old lines. And so I've been very blessed to be with really good coaches that I've worked under really my whole career, and all the way back to starting off in junior college. I just felt like just good coaches all around me. So,
Coach, you guys putting an emphasis on pulling guards this season?
I wouldn't say there's any emphasis on that. I mean, we're going to pool. Are you saying like on guys that we tried to bring in, or
just in general compared to last season, maybe pull some of those guards to open up running lanes for running back?
Yeah, we pulled last season. I don't think we were like any. I don't think it'll be much different. I mean, everybody has those kind of schemes, I don't know if we're gonna like live in that. There's still a lot to see, like what we're actually good at once we get pads on. Once we start competing that way, so we'll kind of see as we go.
Cole, how would you describe your mentality as far as what you want to instill, what you want to see from tenacity standpoint, technique from the line?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, we really just want to have a tough O-line that plays the game in a way that like the whole team can kind of see there's a toughness established from our group there, right? We're not shying away from any kind of contact. And then, really the other thing would be just a smart group. Like, I don't want missed assignments. So that's like the biggest thing is we're trying to play clean football, trying to eliminate bad football, play very tough, be assignment sound, and I think we'll be okay if we do those things.
You mentioned Dante Skarnecki. What are some of the guiding principles that he taught you, fundamentals and style? You have your own style, but the things that you carry with you to this task you have at hand.
Yeah, Dante's the best coach I've ever been around. Like, you can put anybody else. Like, that's the best coach I've ever been around. And to me, it was a very clear, simple teaching progression and just the same messages every single day. And in terms of techniques, like very, very simple. We do the same drills over and over again. We don't try to like reinvent the wheel. We just feel like if we can just get really good at these basic techniques, that everything will take care of itself. And so, it's just, like I said, being with him, I wouldn't be here without Dante. So kind of owe everything to him.
You had a history with Jake Andrews before he arrived here. What does he bring to the table? He hasn't played a lot in the NFL, but obviously you were with him when he was at Troy.
Yeah. It's only with Jake for 1 year. So like there's a relationship there, but I've also been like here for 2 years with JP and Juice, and I think all those guys have been working really, really hard. I think they're all really intelligent guys, can get us to the right spots, and just happy to work with all three of those guys.
With Titus, full-time guard right now, what did you want to see from Titus heading into the season, and has he done a good job of putting that to practice in the short time that we've had camp?
Yeah, we don't have pads on yet, so it's so hard to evaluate like really the physicality and what's going to happen in there. But Titus has done a great job in there. He's a very versatile player. You guys all know that. They've moved him all around here. I know he's been more at tackle in the past, so we're working him some more at guard right now. What he allows us to do is get the best five out there. If he happens to be one of the best five, you can kind of put him where you need to. And so right now we're just getting him a lot of guard reps, and he's done a great job, working really hard.
When you were scouting Urster,
getting the best five outs, how important is it though to really identify solid positions for people and to get that some consistency there?
Yeah, at some point you're definitely going to have to do that. There's no doubt about that. This early in camp, that's really never been like the mode, because we really just don't know what these guys can do, especially right now. We're in a little bit of a unique situation where there's so many new faces in that room, and so just trying to get everybody reps so they can show what they can do, trying to move some guys around, like who works together well, who communicates together well. I mean, that's all part of it, but you're absolutely right. At some point, like, we will have, like, here's our five, here's kind of the next guys in the game, and we'll have plenty of time to get that. And then, the season's also, it's a very long season in the NFL, and what usually happens is you don't have those same five guys, unfortunately. Like, injuries are part of the game, and so all this goes into that. Like it's just helpful to get guys working with different people, different sides of the line. You just build some versatility in the whole group.
When you were scouting Ursery, you guys were looking at games like the Penn State game against Abdul Carter. What are some things that jumped out, and what is he showing you now that he's on the field with you guys?
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy. It's a big, strong tackle that has good power. He can sink and anchor. We really liked a lot of the stuff that he showed, and he played the game, with some toughness. I think that stood out on the tape, and I'm really happy to have him here.
How important has it been to have a player like Cam Robinson that seen a lot of football in the room as his room kind of takes a turn to another year, losing out on Larry Tunsil?
Yeah, it's been great to add him. All those guys that we've added, they all bring a lot of value, right? Because we have some young players in that room, and like you just said, we added some vets. We added some young guys also, not just from the draft, but from other teams. So there's a good mixture in there. And those older guys just provide kind of a sounding board for all those younger guys and can really help people just to say, like, hey, this is how I've kind of done this. Sometimes, we get up there and we're giving a message, and maybe we say it a little sharp. Those guys can pull guys aside and say, like, hey, this is all he's trying to say. So all those guys have been great to have in there, all those veteran guys.
We asked you about Dante, but Bill Belichick, how much you have Bill and all that time that you had together and the time you had with Nick, because you guys got to know each other and work together before, how much is that benefiting you, and what are some things that you can take away from that time?
I just think working with Bill, again, being in New England, right? You can talk about Bill, you can talk about Josh, you can talk about Chad O'Shea, Ivan Fears, all these guys that I think for me and Nick were mentors to us. And again, I think if you ask Nick too, he'd probably say, I wouldn't be here without all those guys and all those years with them. And just really learning like the right way to do things and just really developing a work ethic. I feel very blessed to have been part of that organization at that time frame.
How much will it matter for some guys who will change the scenery matter? If they've got the basics of the position or being an O-lineman and maybe coming someplace new with a different scheme system, how much does that change?
Yeah, I think it all depends on the players. There's been plenty of guys that have been cut from teams, end up on other teams, and end up being really good players, right? And so sometimes a guy just doesn't fit a certain scheme, or maybe even like a personality with like the O-line coach and everything. So again, time will tell on all those things, guys that we've added, and if they grow. And there's also just a maturation process that happens. Some guys, they just don't really reach their potential till year 3 or 4. That happens all the time. And so like I said, I'm really happy with the room right now and all the guys we added. Everybody's working really hard, and so we'll just kind of see how this develops. It's only been really 3 days and no pads, and so we got a long way to go and a lot of work to do.
Yes.
That's me and everybody else in that room.
Thank you.
Make sure that I turn that off. Y'all give me 1 second, because I do not want this thing to pop on. Hold on. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, y'all. That was offensive line coach Cole Popovich. He was the assistant line coach on last year, and I got it. Well, wait, let me say this before I say what I got. Y'all heard the first statement? I clipped that up, and then I added myself to the end of it. So if you've been on Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, or the tick and the talk at Big Sarge Media, or Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, or if you've been on Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube page, you've seen me add to the end of his first statement where he talked about the difference in being the assistant guy and the head guy. And I'm glad that he said it, because I have been telling you all for months. I've been telling you all throughout the season, hey, man, the dysfunction that's going on with the offensive line, the dysfunction, the lack of communication, the inability to pick up line stunts and delayed blitzes, hey, that's starting at the top. Y'all remember? Like, just put 100 in the comments if you remember. Remember I told you all that? when I said, hey, there's too much dysfunction on the inside of the room. And that's another reason why, people was like, oh, why are you out here defending Laramie Tunsil? He's not a leader and blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, he's a player, not a coach. He's a player, not a coach. Remember I kept telling you all that? Hey, man, you say what you want to say about Laramie Tunsil. Cool. Say whatever it is you want. You're entitled to your own opinion. I got it. Hey, say what you want. But I told you, he's a player, not a coach. One of the reasons I kept telling you that is no matter what he would do to tell these guys, Chris Strausser was the final say-so. That's exactly what Cole Popovich just said today. Hey, as the assistant, my job is to give everything to the head guy, and the head guy makes the final decision. Now it's different because I am the head guy, so I get to make the final decisions. So now I get to say so in being able to implement what I wanted to do last season when I said, hey, here's the way to stop the delayed blitzes. Here's the way to stop the stunts. Here's a way to stop it. And all the players were like, well, damn, that makes sense. That makes sense. And it also makes sense because Cole Popovich learned from one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. He learned from one of the best. So all these things that he's watching, he says, I have a solution for this, right? I got a solution. So the players turn this way and be like, hey, that's the way to do it. And then they turn this way, and Chris Johnson was like, well, we're going to do it this way, guys. Well, damn, Cole, you right. You right in what you're saying. I can see it. I know. And look, I can tell it's going to work. This guy controls the playing time. And at the end of the day, you're just the assistant right now. So I can't go against this guy. He's the offensive line coach. You're the assistant. And so now the players are in the middle. Like, all right, well, even though we're getting crucified and killed by running Chris Strausser's system, even though, we're the worst offensive line, but we're only the worst. One of the reasons we are the worst offensive line is because the communication is off. And if Chris Strausser would have just listened to Cole Popovich, maybe things would have looked a little bit different last year. And that's what I kept telling y'all. I was like, hey, look, y'all blaming the players, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more than just the players. And that's why you kept hearing at the end of the season, what did DeMeco Ryans keep saying? I need one voice in a room. I need one voice in a room. I need one voice in a room. Then Bobby was gone, and then Strausser was gone. And to tell you, let's put it this way. Most of you all who support Big Sarge Media, most of you all who support me, I honestly and truly believe that you are intellectually capable of seeing things. I do believe that you have common sense and book sense. Even though common sense ain't all that common, I do believe that you all can do deductive reasoning and see some things, right? So check this out. If there's a problem with the offense, right? There's a problem with the offensive play calling, and there's a problem with the offensive line unit, right? There's a problem with the offensive play calling. There's a problem with the offensive line unit. So you fire the offensive coordinator and you fire the offensive line coach and you bring in a brand new offensive coordinator. You bring in a former position coach and make him your offensive coordinator, and you promote within from assistant to the head guy. So you fire Bobby, and then you outsource and bring in Nick Caley, and you fire Chris Strausser, and then you just promote Cole Popovich from being assistant to being a head guy. Now, look, math wasn't my strongest subject once we started getting up to trigonometry and calculus and, all that other stuff. All those, like, the higher math after we got to all that. Look, I ain't done that, but what I could do is do deductive reasoning, and I can count. And if Bobby Slowick was fired and his replacement was outsourced from another entity, brought in from the outside, and Chris Strausser was fired, but his replacement was promoted from within, it tells you all you need to know. And now you go back and you start to think, well, damn, Sarge said that there was a problem inside the room. So who was the problem? Chris Strausser. If they didn't have the faith in Cole Popovich, when they fired Chris Strausser, they wouldn't have promoted him. They would have hired another offensive line coach, but they promoted from within. They promoted the guy that was a part of one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year. They promoted him. They didn't get rid of everybody. They got rid of Chris Strausser and they promoted Cole Popovich. What is that telling you? What is that telling you? That's telling you that the organization looked and said, okay, hold on. So you're telling me Cole Popovich had the solution all along, but Chris Strausser wouldn't listen to him. Oh, that's an easy fix. Hey, get him out. All right, Chris, appreciate you. No, keep all the gear. Yeah. You need some extra? You want some extra stuff with the H on it? You can keep all that everything. Keep everything. Like, we don't want anything back. You can have whatever's in your office. You can take everything. You can take the desk. You can take the chairs. You can take the lights. You can pull up the carpet for all I want, or the wood flooring. Whatever you want, Chris, you can have it on the way out the door. I appreciate that. Have a great one, my guy. Hey, Cole, once he moves out, we're going to furnish this thing. You're going to get we don't need any of that old aura, any of that old stench. And I'm not taking any shots at Chris Strausser. I'm just saying that stench of the way that the offensive line was ran last year, we're going to clear all that out. As soon as he takes all that stuff out of there, we're going to walk through there with sage. We're going to sage your office, right? We're going to sage your office and clean it up. And then you're going to bring in everything new. So take it from your old office and just put it in your brand new office right here. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. That they fired Bobby, brought in somebody from the outside to replace him. They fired Chris Strausser, and they promoted from within. That's where that one voice comes from. That's all D'Amico wants. Now, he said, Cole Popovich said during his press conference that he wanted to clean up some mistakes. He wanted a tough O-line, and he wanted to be a tough group. So he want his position group to be looked at just as tough as the defensive line group, just as tough as the linebackers group, just as tough as the defensive backs group, just as tough as the running back group. That's what he wants. Hey, let's clean up these mistakes. Let's have a tough line, a tough group. It's looking for consistency. And that consistency has to happen once the pads come on. Once the pads come on, you got to find. You remember we all talked about this a couple of weeks ago when I said, hey, they got to do this thing quickly. And they got to find 5 guys on that offensive line and stick with it. Because you don't want to keep mixing and matching leading up into the season. And now there's no consistency. CJ doesn't know the habits of what these guys are going to do. These guys are still learning, and then you keep moving them in different positions. No, put them in a spot, let them stay. What did I say? Hey, if you're going to play Titus at right guard, stick him at right guard early. Let him stay at right guard. Now, if you need to move him to right tackle because of inefficiency or because someone gets hurt, that's one thing. But if you want him to play right guard and you want him to be effective at right guard, you stick him in there from day one and you let him stay there. And that's exactly what they've done so far in OTA's minicamp and 3 days into training camp. The consistency has been Titus Howard. They have mixed and matched their right tackle with Blake Fisher and Ariante Ursery. They have mixed and matched at center with Jake Andrews and Patterson. I don't want to mess Patterson's name up. Jared Patterson. Right, I know it started with a J. I just didn't want to mess it up. So they've been, alternating Jake Patterson and Jake Andrews at the center position. Laken Tomlinson has been the left guard, and Cam Robinson has been the left tackle. And so you can tell that they're trying to find some type of consistency. But you know what? I finally got it, y'all. I finally got it. Let me brush my hair. Still got that hairline, though. Hey, come closer. Come closer, y'all. Come closer. I finally got it. I got it. And I did not get it. I did not get it until I'm listening to Cole Popovich talk again, until I seen that interview for the third time, and then watching Nick Caley, and then watching Cole Popovich. And like I said, the Texas man found the perfect combination in Cole Popovich and Nick Caley, because they got that same aura. They got that same aura. They got that same football aura around them. And I got it, y'all. I got it. Hey, look, hold on. Let me pull my shirt down. Y'all see this? That's Cal. Y'all see Cal right there? Y'all see Cal? Oh, these limited editions. Everybody ain't got these either. This is a limited edition. Hey, you ain't going to see everybody with these. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Everybody ain't got this. So look. So you see this right here, right? Cal McNair, right? Cal McNair. I got it, y'all. I got it. I think the Houston Texans have finally completed their mission and their task of the Patriots way. You got Nick Caserio, former New England Patriots, former New England Patriots, in the Patriots organization, excuse me. You got Nick Caserio, general manager. You got Nick Caley, who was with the Patriots as your offensive coordinator. Now you got Cole Popovich, who was with the Patriots as your offensive line coach. I think they finally achieved, after years and years of trying, starting with Bill O'Brien and starting with Jack Easterby, like they finally got it. Like with Romeo Crennel, like he's like they finally achieved Patriots South. And I'm not talking about current Patriots. I'm talking about former Patriots. I'm talking about Super Bowl Patriots. I'm talking about, following that blueprint. They finally got the blueprint that they wanted. Like they finally finished the blueprint. I mean, a day late and a dollar short. But hey, look. That foundation in which that New England, that Patriots way, that foundation that the Patriots way was built on, that strong foundation was built on who? That foundation was Tom Brady. Ain't Nick Caley been showing CJ Stroud some Tom Brady footage? Doesn't CJ Stroud speak highly of Tom Brady? Doesn't he fit that mold of Tom Brady? You can build that foundation. On I mean, sorry, if you can use that foundation of CJ Stroud and build the same house that the Patriots were able to build with Tom Brady, I think they finally did it. Look at that, y'all. Look at how you find out everything on look at how you find out everything on the Texas Happy Hour. Look at that. They finally did it. Wow. I'm gonna have to write that down because I'm gonna have to clip that up. They finally did it. I'm so proud of you, Cal. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. What's going on, Angel? What's up? The bully. I'm so proud. J-Rock, you snuck in here. I'm so proud of you, Cal. You have finally completed your mission of the Patriots way. And I think that this time around, it could work. I think this time around, it definitely can work. I think it can. Chocolate Brady. All right. I got one more interview I want to play for you, and then we're going to get up out of here because I got to get ready for my date. I got me a date, and I cannot be late, and it's going to be so great. Great. Here is Houston Texans quarterback CJ Stroud.
Promotes that, and then, family and friends who support it and teammates as well. So I feel like I've grown a lot.
CJ, what do you expect from yourself in year 3?
I just want consistent wins, and not just like on the scoreboard or just on the field. Of course, that's very important, but just in life. So just consistently winning.
What is different about your off-season this year than it was after your rookie year?
I just kind of knew more, knew how much time I actually had or how little time we had, and just kind of plan things better. And, it's only my second off season, so it's not really like something that you just know what to do. So still got a lot to learn, but yeah, I feel like I just planned better and just spent my time intentionally, either if it was training or spending time away. So it's being more intentional.
When it comes to this offense, you guys have talked about you getting more, having more on your plate, especially at the line of scrimmage. Does that give you more ownership of the offense maybe than you would have had in the past versus just kind of getting the play and going out and doing that?
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a, quarterback's offense where, you're IDing, you're calling the shots, you're switching protections if you need, and it's really like just me in the center. So that's J-Pat or Juice. Just, got to have good communication with those guys and, relay to everybody else what's going on. So, Nick is doing a great job teaching us stats. So is Jerry and Gerard. So, it's a lot more ownership.
When you do have that ownership, does it help you as a leader grow in that role as well, with that ownership?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to grow there. I think every year, as a leadership role, I can learn a little more. I think that gives me another edge where, guys, if you change a player or do something good, guys are okay, we can trust this guy. So that definitely helps leadership.
CJ, what do you learn from the vintage Tom Brady stuff, the 2003, 2004 stuff that you watched? And have you ever talked to Tom, that you met him before, obviously you know him, but about kind of what you're doing, or Nick Caley or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, those clips are always great to watch, somebody do it, and at such a high level, just he's not like physically, imposing his will, but he's just mentally, whooping guys, playing and play out. So that's something that I definitely, want to get to that. But like you said, they started back in 2000, 2001, 2003. So, like, it's been a long time. It's been the same offense. So this is my first year. It's not going to be what I watch on film yet, but, I, am sure that one day it will. And I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure if he did, he would have some advice. But
You've got some additions to the team this year. Is there somebody you're excited about that you're really excited to have on?
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much everybody, but I like the two rookies, Jalen and Jaden. They've come in with a great mindset, really mature guys who love to work, consistently here at the building or, working with me in the off season. So, I'm really excited to see those guys' growth and see them, take a step forward each and every day. And it's not going to be perfect for those guys, but I think they're going to make a lot of plays, and I'm excited to see.
CJ, how difficult is it for you? Go ahead, Joe.
Speaking of that, the front office is really investing in the wide receiver group and the offensive line. What did you make of that, and what do you hope that could do for the offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, just like, anything in life, you got to, if that's time, if that's people, if that's just personal things or you got to invest into it. So I think, I'm grateful, that we're trying to, fix things and get things squared away. And, I'm trying to lift those guys up every day. So I think it's very important, and, I'm excited and happy we did that.
Hey, we have Nico and Will soon, so just a few more.
CJ, how difficult is it for you as a quarterback? Not only are you learning a new offensive system, but there is different offensive linemen now, different pieces on there. How difficult is it for you to have to, learn both of those in real time?
I don't think I'm kind of a people person, so like, I think I'm a plug and play guy. Like I can relate to anybody at any time, so I think that helps with me on the field. So, the new guys who are here, I think I've meshed with them pretty well, and we've hung out off the field and seen each other out and things like that. So, I think I'll be fine in that area and just try to keep building those relationships.
On those same lines, the surroundings have obviously changed. Last year, you said you wanted to emphasize controlling what you can control. What are some of those things that you can control that aren't necessarily surroundings?
As in,
just you said you wanted to control what you could control. What can you control though this year?
My attitude, my play, my communication. I think those are some things just I can control. So I'll try to do that as best as I can.
Did you not like the way they went down last year?
No, I did. I think we won some games and went to the playoffs and did some great things. So yeah, everybody's different personalities, different people. So you got to adjust on what people like. And for me, my job is being a servant. So trying to serve others. So yeah.
What's the biggest
Last one, y'all.
you and the players so far?
I'm sorry.
The dynamic with Nick Caley and you and the rest of the players.
Yeah, Nick is a fiery young coach who loves to yell and run around, and and I love it. He brings juice to the building every day. So I'm excited just to work with him every day and try to build a relationship. And he's done a good job of just relating to the players and always asking us what we want, how we want to do things, and making it player own. So I love that of him.
Having said that,
CJ, what's the biggest thing you learned last season that you think will help you to be more successful this year?
That's a great question. There's a bunch of things, but if I can probably narrow it down to one, I would say just trust the process. It's not about what people think, who people think you are, what they think you are, or when they think you should do it. It's all about your process and how you're going to go about it. And if God's happy, if your teammates are happy, and yourself, I think then you're good. So I think that's trusting the process, whatever that is, if that's good or bad during the time. It's trusting what the coaches are doing and everybody around me. So thank you guys.
That was Houston Texans quarterback CJ Stroud in his first press conference of training camp. Said a lot of good things in there, a lot of good things. And, I'm going to put up what J-Rock just said. J-Rock says CJ knows what dysfunction looks like now. Look at how much happier he is, and it's only training camp. And I definitely agree with you. I put out a picture today on social media that said it's just good to see this guy be happy about playing football again. Like it just feels good to see him happy about playing football again. And it's one of those things where I'm not saying that he was upset and mad last season. It's just at certain times he didn't look like he was having fun like he did his rookie year. And now it looks like he's gotten that spirit back and gotten that fervor back of just wanting to play football and be the guy. He just, wants to play football and be the guy. And that's why I asked him about his offseason, because we remember after his rookie year, in the offseason, you couldn't turn around without seeing CJ somewhere. This past offseason, you didn't see CJ like you did before. But you could just tell that he is. You could tell how highly he speaks of Nick Caley and EJ. EJ, I see what I'm gonna discuss this right now. EJ says, Sarge, I usually agree with you on most things, but Brady and CJ comparison not even close. Brady couldn't run by his own admission. At least if needed, CJ can, and Brady was a little more accurate. I'm just saying. So I agree with you on the using their legs. Can CJ run? Of course. Didn't we see him in college against Georgia? Like, we know he can run. His rookie year, he can use his legs. He really doesn't like to get out of the pocket, though. CJ likes to make the plays. He likes to stay in the pocket for as long as he can and give his wide receivers an opportunity to do what they need to do. Also, give the wide receivers an opportunity to help bail him out when he's in trouble. So yes, I do agree with you, EJ. Don't get me wrong. Yes, Brady couldn't run, right? Brady couldn't run, and CJ can. But this last part, Brady was a little more accurate. Like this is just year 3 for CJ though, EJ. Can we table this and maybe come back in like year 5, year 7, and then say, okay, is CJ as accurate as Tom Brady? I mean, because it's rookie season, we seen that he was really good. He broke some records, and even Tom Brady was talking about his accuracy, and Peyton Manning was talking about his accuracy, and other former quarterbacks and former coaches was talking about how accurate he was, especially in his rookie season. And so now in this new offensive system, that catered to a quarterback like Tom Brady, and if you can see that same makeup of what Tom Brady had, you can see that same makeup in CJ Stroud, then now you're looking and you're saying to yourself, all right, his accuracy could pick up. Can we also say this though, EJ, and tell me if you agree with this or not, because you could disagree with me. Oh, listen, on the Texans tailgate talk, right here, we talk in the comments, we talk back and forth. The supporters of the show talk back and forth. So and we don't have no problem. There ain't nobody in here that I know of that's here on a consistent basis that mind being wrong and mind saying, hey, I was wrong and you was right, and vice versa. And so let me say this. Let me ask a question, EJ, and then you answer in the comments, and then I'll put it up so we can talk about it. Some of the accuracy issues in year 2 was on CJ, but can you also say that some of the accuracy issues in year 2 could have been because Nico missed 5 games and now he's playing? Like, think about it. Even though he had Stephon Diggs during training camp, he still had to get acclimated to playing with Stephon Diggs, right? That was year 2 of him playing with Nico. So he already knew what Nico was doing. He already had year 2 of Tank. But at times, there was different wide receivers in there that he hadn't played with. And there was different wide receivers in there that he wasn't, I don't want to say that he wasn't comfortable with. He just didn't know their tendencies. And so that could have threw off some of the accuracy numbers too. You can tell me if I'm wrong, EJ. If you see it differently, I'll definitely put it back up. What's up, Texans Tangent? Jalen said it took over a decade, but it's done. Talking about the Patriots way. Senior Boble called him a chocolate Brady. What's going on, Angel? Tay said Brady spoke highly of CJ. Higgins been making plays. I'm hearing about everybody else. Yes. And he's not. Look, the one thing that I like what they're doing with him, he's getting some reps with the ones, but they didn't just automatically insert him into the starting lineup. And let me say this. Of course, they're doing a lot of mixing and matching. We only had 3 days of training camp. 2 of those days, one of those days was getting acclimated. The second day, okay, it looked like they were doing what they were not doing what they were supposed to, but ramped it up a little bit more than, day 3. They had to come from outside to inside the bubble, do a walk, so they did basically a walkthrough. And then on Saturday, they'll be out there and you won't truly get a true depiction because, and the bully, let me ask you a question. When he's in the game, when he's on the field, he looks amazing. Still learning the game, still learning the routes. But his catch radius is amazing. His catch radius is like Nico Collins' catch radius. And so, let me write that down. Yeah, so And I'm gonna get to these other comments, but I just wanted to say this. Hey Cam, appreciate you reposting the show. Let me say this, because over the next 6 days, there's going to be a lot. Well, not 6 days, excuse me. Over the next 6 practices, there's going to be a lot of training camp content coming out, because when they have these open practices, so the policy for us, right? The policy for us is they give us a certain window to record, right? To record, take pictures, do whatever it is we need to do with our cameras, with our phone, or whatever apparatus we're using to capture whatever we need to do. They give us certain periods. After that period is done, there's no more filming. You can't take no more pictures, none of that. That's why you see a lot of the practice stuff come from the social media team, because they're still filming, but we're not allowed to film. We're allowed to tweet. So that's why after a certain time, you stop seeing the videos and the pictures and things like that come out, and you just see a bunch of tweets. Hey, this just happened. Like the other day when Jalen Noel scored the touchdown, and we had to wait until the social media team put it out so you all could see. The only thing we could do is tweet it and say, this is what it looks like. We could tell you, we can describe it to you, excuse me, but you got to wait for the video to come out from the social media team. And they have so many cameras around. They do an amazing job. Let me say this. They do an amazing job of putting that stuff out. So when you're looking at other teams, like I think the Cowboys, I think they allow their media members to record like the 11-on-11s and like 7-on-7s, 11, certain team drills. And there's certain times, like as training camp goes on, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be like in a couple of these open practices too, especially once they put the pads on. That's when we'll start seeing the 7-on-7s with the defensive backs and linebackers versus the wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. And so they allow us to film some of that. But when they're doing the team drills, they don't want us doing that. So I'm prefacing my statement by saying you're about to see in these next 6 practices, you're going to see a lot of content that's going to come out. You're going to see a lot of videos coming out. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be putting out their analysis. And, hey, rightfully so. I don't have no problem with that. You do what you do. If you're there, you're there. If you're allowed into training camp and they allow you to film, we can't film. So we can't put anything out. We can't use our cameras. When the people who are going to be doing that, the fans are going to be on one side of the field, and the media is going to be on the other side of the field. So as media on this side of the field, we're not allowed to. But the fans are, you can't tell the fans they can't have their phones. And so the fans are going to have, all kinds of footage that you're not going to see from us. But what I do want you to know, and what I do want to give you a heads up about is, there's going to be certain things that's coming out. There's going to be certain content creators that are going to be saying things. And I don't want you to be misled. Of course, they can only report what they observe. They can only report what they see, not report. They can only give you what they're observing, what they're seeing at that time. They're not wrong for that. Let me preface my statement by saying they're not wrong for that. But it's also not a true depiction of what the Houston Texans are going to do, because of the fact that everybody has a camera and everybody wants to record and everybody wants to put stuff out instantaneously. Nick Caley not finna show you. You're not finna see any of the actual things that they're going to do on offense. They're going to continue to install some of their offense, but it's going to be very, very vanilla. It's going to be more of like what you see in a preseason game. They won't ramp it up. And I'm not telling you something I heard. I'm telling you something I know. They're going to ramp it up once they get to West Virginia, because now we can't record. We can only, put out on social media what we see. So we can't record and all that. So we can only tell you what we're seeing. And now that footage is not going to get out. That footage is not going to get out. But if they did that with these 6 open practices that are about to happen, with the amount of cameras that are going to be out there, the amount of people that are going to be out there, the amount of people that are going to be posting to their social media pages, that's just opening up the door for their competition to see what they're going to do. So there's going to be a lot of dummy concepts out there. There's going to be a lot of, just practice-based stuff, just a lot of getting the count, the snap count right, being able to get off the ball. And so I just don't want you to, to see something from someone like in the 3rd open practice, and then you start evaluating from there, because that may be something that's just strictly for training camp and is never going to be used in a regular season game. Could be used in a preseason game, but it's never going to be used. Now, once the pads come on and the matchups, the physicality, becomes a little bit different. I don't think they're going to be doing any tackling like that. I don't think there's going to be any tackling, but with the pads come on, you can get a little bit more physical. So, you will see people reporting about that and putting it on their social media pages about that. But I don't want you all to be fooled thinking that, they're going to run trips right. Look at Caley. Caley then pulled out the trips right play, this, that, and other. And he could have been like, hey, y'all, I was watching these streamers on TikTok playing college football, and I seen them do this play. And I said, I wonder what it'd look like if we did that play. Let's just do it and see. They do that type of stuff. And I'm not saying that's what Nick Caley does. I'm not saying that he's getting plays from TikTok. I'm not saying he's getting plays from any video games. I just use that as an example where he's like, hey, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try this. Hey, let's do this. But you're not going to get a true and accurate depiction of what the Houston Texans are going to do in an open practice. I just want you all to, Bobby was getting plays from Tecmo Bowl. I want you to be aware of that. Hold on. Let me make sure my wife ain't text me. Okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I'm sorry, y'all. This is Jonathan M. Alexander from let me see if I can send it this way. Y'all give me 1 second. Hold on. They got to go. Y'all give me a second. I'm trying to. Man, this thing ain't let me do it. Anyway, Jonathan gonna have to wait now. So, yeah. So I don't want you all to get caught up in thinking that that's what's gonna do, because what will also happen is you'll see these things on social media pages, and then once we get to West Virginia, we'll come back and we'll report on something else, and then now it's like, oh well, y'all lying, because when Abracadabra 123 put on his Twitter page, when Ted DiBiase Jr. put on his YouTube page, he had the video, and this is what they did. So I don't want you all to be deceived. Let me just say it like that. All right, let me get back into these comments right quick, and then I gotta get up out of here. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. I said, Cam, thank you for reposting that. Sarge, do you think if Noel can come in and be the version of Tank we wanted before 2 season injuries, that Tank will be on the outs? No, I don't. I don't think that Tank would be removed from this team without given an opportunity to prove that he could still play. So no. And if Tank wasn't around the facilities, if Tank wasn't rehabbing as hard as he is, if Tank wasn't doing the going above and beyond in his rehab, then I could say yes. But Tank has done nothing but show this organization, show Nick Caserio, show D'Amico Ryans, show Nick Caley, show Ben McDaniels that he's doing everything, showing his teammates he's doing everything he possibly can to get back on the field. It is one of those things where they're going to have to save Tank from himself because Tank wants to play. That with no doubt about it, Tank is working as hard as he can to come back and play in this season. I don't know, but I'm not a medical doctor either. I don't even play one on television. So I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know. I can't say unless I talk with someone who has knowledge of the situation. I can't say Tank can't play this year. I would say, right? Sarge would say that I would err on the side of caution and be like, nah, Tank, you need time. You need time to heal and you need time. Look, I understand. I see you out there cutting and running and cutting and running. And especially if they don't really need him, if they can get, if they can do what they need to do with the group that they have, then no, let Tank heal and let him come back. And that's going to be a tough and that's going to be a hard conversation for the organization to have with Tank Dell. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you. That is, if Tank feels that he can play, if Tank show, hey man, I'm able to get back out on the field, and they say, hey Tank, we love you. We know your heart. We know you're a hard worker. We know everything about you. We know we love you here at the Houston Texans, but we can't put you back on that field just yet. We don't feel comfortable putting you back on that field. Tank may get so mad that he may start crying. And I don't mean that as Tank for a sign of weakness. I'm just meaning that that's how much passion that Tank has in his heart to want to play the game of football. That's how much passion that he has to want to contribute and be back out there on the field with his brothers. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. I know, and I know where he got it from. I mean, I've talked to Tank's parents and even Tank's little brother. Like Tank's little brother got the same spirit Tank got. And his daddy told us last year, told last year at training camp, he's like, and he's better than Tank at this age than Tank was. He's better at this age than Tank was at this age. He say, but he loves his big brother, and he plays with that same heart that his big brother has. Tank used to tell me, man, I call home and my brother comes in and he got to hop on the FaceTime, or he FaceTiming me, showing me plays, showing, hey, you look, I watched this play. You should have done this. You should have done that. So as I digress, I don't think so. I don't think so that that they would replace Tank like that. Hopefully refs don't give CJ this year. Bunch of lock employees on the field. Miles and that cognac. What's going on, man? I need the pass to come on so we can see what we got out there. I want to see those two rookies in action. Yeah, for sure. Senior Boble said running for his life a little bit might have affected his accuracy. All right, EJ responded and said, absolutely, Sarge, but at times CJ missed wide open targets. Not all of the time, but wide open wide receivers was shocking watching it with the naked eye. He's not horrible by any means, long shot. But yes, EJ, I agree with that too. But can I offer some pushback on that as well? Because listen, I've said this on numerous occasions, on numerous times. I got this straight from CJ. CJ said, I did not play up to CJ Stroud standards. I didn't have a bad season, but I didn't have a CJ Stroud season. And this is coming directly from CJ. CJ said this out of his own mouth. I didn't have a CJ Stroud type season. He wasn't talking in third person. What he was saying is he didn't reach the standards that he set for himself last season. So I preface my statement by saying this, and EJ, you can reply, and I'll talk to you again. You see, I'm going through the comments. You say he missed some wide open wide receivers. Yes, he did. He missed some wide open wide receivers. He made some bad throws. I thought that the way that he came out in the second half of that Detroit Lions game, and I'm saying to myself, hey, that ain't CJ Stroud. Hey, what y'all do with CJ? Where's CJ at? Because that ain't CJ. That ain't the same CJ we just watched in the first half. Like, hey, what y'all do? Like, who is this? Did y'all clone him? Is this AI version of CJ Stroud? Because this ain't the real CJ Stroud. So, yes, I do agree with you. But if I had to offer some pushback, could you also say that around the middle of the season, you could tell that CJ was like shell-shocked too? Because of the amount of pressure that was put on him from the defense, from the lack of protection from the offensive line. Could you also say that he was a little shell-shocked? CJ got hit a lot last year. He got hit a lot. He took a lot of sacks. He got hit a lot, though. He got hit a lot. And so that takes a toll on you, over time. Hey, that takes a toll on you being hit that many times. So, and towards the end of the season, when they started going with that consistent lineup, when they moved Titus Howard over to left guard, the protection started to get and put Juice Scruggs at right guard and Blake Fisher at right tackle and Jared Patterson at center, and of course Larry Tunsil. That lineup and that unit right there kind of gave CJ more time, and you could see him start to play a little bit better. J-Rock, what you mean glad they keep it that way? Let me know what that means. What you think about Brevin Jordan being key to this year? So, the chosen one, follow me. I hope you're following me on Twitter at Big Star Sports with a Z at the end. I had an opportunity to speak with tight ends coach Jake Moreland on Friday, and I specifically asked him about Brevin Jordan, and he'll answer that question for you. I can't really answer that question for you right now because it's only been 3 days of training camp. So let's table that chosen one, and I'll get back to you. I remember a few of those throws, EJ. It made me wonder if he was hurt the way he missed it. Hey, Senior Boble, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Hey, Sarah. Sarah still in here? Sideline Sarah, you still here? Because every time I talk about this, I have got to give her props. I didn't see this. I didn't see it until she brought it to my attention. Matter of fact, it was during one of the shows, one of the live shows we were having, and she said, hey, Sarge, do you think CJ got hurt against the Jets? And I said, elaborate a little bit more, Sarah. Tell me a little bit more what you mean by that. She's like, and because, hey, look, Sarah does her studying, and Sarah comes with receipts. She sent me a play, and she said, look at this play. She said, now, look at this play, and then think about how CJ played after that. And I was like, ooh. Now, this was later on in the season. Ooh. Okay. So I went back, and I did my research, and then I asked around. Hey, CJ get hurt? Did CJ get hurt in the New York Jets game? CJ been playing with a stinger in his shoulder. Like, did CJ something happen with CJ in New York? Sarge, how you know that? Hey, it was brought to my attention by one of the supporters of my show. I'll get back with you. What do you mean you'll get back with me? Okay, if you don't give me the answers, I know how to find the answer. And I found the answer. And if you missed that show, then I'm not going to tell you how I found the answer, because I did come and I did say on the show how I found out the answer. And if Sarah's still in here, Sarah, you can tell him, Sarah, I'm not going to tell him. Sarah can tell you how I found out the answer, because the first thing I came back and told her was, Sarah, you were right. I said, let me make sure that I let everybody know that Sarah was right. CJ took a stinger that affected him the rest of the season in that New York game. So yes, Senior Boble. I love CJ was a little suspect in him last year. Maybe it's because of all the pressure he was receiving all season long. Yeah. Sarge, what do you think about the guy from First Take saying CJ has more to prove than Trevor? Who said that, Tay? Tay, please put it and tell me who said that. I also like Caley pulling Fisher the other day for offsides. Hold everyone accountable. Yeah, he does too. It astonishes me that people don't already know this. What don't already know what, Texas Tangent? That defense is going to be tough. Bobby was getting plays from Tecmo Bowl. That defense is going to be top 3 or 2. Excuse me. If the offensive line can hold up against the defense, then ain't too many issues they should have this year. Yep. I can't stand these reporters making sweeping generalizations about the entire season based on practices with no pads. Yep. We are online away from winning the Super Bowl. Tank not going nowhere. Trust me. Hold on, take that down. His work ethic is too high for his rehab. Tank Dell will be back next season, but he needs to stay healthy from that point on, or else he's getting cut. And that's a great take, Miles and Carney. He got to stay healthy. He has to. Texas Tank said Tank has shown H-Town how bad he wants this before he joined the NFL. We love you, Tank. Got it. Hold on. 42. Sarge, last year we had trouble breaking the huddle in time. Now we're about to do adjustments at the line. Is it feasible? Hey, certified Texan. Hey, that's a shot at Bobby. Is that a shot at Bobby? Because what he told me when I asked about does CJ have the ability to the ability inside of the offense to call audibles? That's a shot. That's a shot. Jay Coop. How does the 2 rookie DBs look at one-on-ones? If you get an opportunity, go back and I talked about Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed, but more Jalen Smith and how he's learning from, being on that side of the ball. But I did talk about that earlier in the show. Those 2 guys, if they stay on the trajectory that they're on, they're going to be good. We're going to get an opportunity to see, a little bit more once they get into the pads and they start doing the 7-on-7s. So that Lions game was bad after the first half. Yep. Brandon, he signed. The Bengals actually signed him? Okay. Yes, we tell that CJ shows we saw the fear in his eyes. I'm worried it will carry over to this season. You ain't got to be worried about that. You ain't got to be worried about that. You ain't got to be worried about no fear. And he had no fear last year. True that Sarge was hammered last year. Reminded me of that. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. All right, J-Rock. Yep. First 2 drives of the Jets game helped get Slowick fired. He did the opposite of what everybody recommended. Hey, was that Jets game before or after the Lions game? Because really the Lions game is what really got him fired. We'll talk about that another time. I think the Jets game was the most precious. CJ. Yep. Wait. Wait, Tay, what I miss? Wait a minute, Tay, what did I ask you? Hold on. Let me see if I can go back into these comments. Tay, what I miss? Who you calling? Wait a minute, who you going at? Larry Payton. What's up, Larry? CJ was beat up by the New York Jet 2 years ago. Yes, he was. I don't know what it, Larry. I don't know what it is about going to New York. I'm so glad that they ain't got to go to New York for a while, because remember the year before, how many people got hurt? CJ got hurt. He got a concussion in that game that they played before, the year prior. He got a concussion in that game. Didn't Nico Nico got hurt? Jonathan Grenard got hurt. Somebody else got hurt. Then this last season, Will wins AFC Defensive Player of the Month, and then he gets hurt. And then one or two other people got hurt too. I'm just like, hey, y'all, hey, look, if they never ever have to go back to New Jersey again, I'll be like, it is too soon. They ain't got to go back to see Caucus in the next 4 years, 5 years. I will be happy. Even though I do like being up there, though. It is a nice place. My wife and I, on our trip, we started our trip out of Sea Caucus. We left, and then we went and rode up on the East Coast. So it was amazing. I like how the players talk about the new plays and coaching, how it's all the same language and dedication. Mob Squad. So if you Mob Squad, then you are a Sigma, right? 1914. MAB Squad, 1914. You're Sigma. Hey, I'm guessing here, right? I'm just guessing. And if you are, hey, guess what? Your frat brother owns Hall Family Estates, who sponsors this Texans Happy Hour. Your frat brother, Hall Family Estates, is a Sigma, Lamont, a Sigma from Prairie View, who owns his own wine company. And that's why he always says you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine. And that's the closest thing to it. So check him out. Check out your frat brother right there, man, at www.hallfamilyestates.com. Deshaun White. Hey, you little label, what you think about Chubb? I like Chubb. I do. I like Chubb, and I can't wait until they get some consistency and they get Joe Mixon back so I can see how they play off of each other. But Deshaun, if you get a chance, first of all, welcome. If you get a chance, go to Big Star Sports with a Z on Twitter. I am about to put out an exclusive clip from Danny Barrett, who gave me an answer when I asked about Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. I think you're going to like it. So, Quentin Williams. Yep. All right, Ma. Yep. That horrible field they play on is where all the and you know what's so crazy, EJ? Wait, hold on. Let me check. Oh, she ain't left the office yet, so okay, I'm cool. Hey, y'all give me a second right quick. Give me 1 second. Give me a second.
Yo.
Jonathan M. Alexander.
Live.
You are currently on the Texans Happy Hour. I have you on speakerphone. Do not say anything that will incriminate you or your puppy. So check this out. 2 things. 1, did you get what you needed? Because if not, as soon as I get off this show, I can email it to you.
Oh, nah. Yeah, can you email it to me?
I will. I got your email. I'll email it to you as soon as I get off this show. 2, can I announce to the people who are in the Texans Happy Hour right now that you will be a guest on the Texans Happy Hour on Monday?
Yeah.
Y'all heard that? on Monday's show, we will have Jonathan M. Alexander from the Houston Chronicle. Does amazing work over at the Chronicle. And he don't know it, but I was ear hustling some of the things he was saying today, and I was like, ooh, that's going to be a good article. Hey, Jonathan, real quickly, the mailbag came out today?
No, it comes out August, first Wednesday in August.
All right, so make sure we'll make sure that we'll let the people know when you're on the show on Monday about the mailbag. Anything you want to announce that's coming up on Sunday? You got anything good coming out on Sunday as far as an article is concerned, or any article that you want to promote right now?
Sure, yeah. I'll write an article on the I'm going to write an article on the offensive line and whether the Texans have done enough to improve upon what they did last year.
All right, y'all heard it right here first, right? You heard it. Jonathan M. Alexander, Houston Chronicle, will be on the show on Monday. Hey, man, thanks, brother. I got your email address. I'll send it to you as soon as I get off the show.
Okay, appreciate you.
All right, brother.
All right, thanks.
It's my guy. Yeah. I hate that feel. Nick doubled down again and said this will be a Houston offense. I'm excited to see it. Yep, he will. Wait. Oh, that's Kevin Clark is the guy who said that CJ has more to prove than Trevor Lawrence? Hold on one second. Let me get back to Mod Squad 1914 because I like Higgins. I like Noel. Earlier, I played CJ's press conference. He likes him as well. I think somebody has an article coming out on him, on both of them pretty soon. I will get an opportunity to speak with them individually once we get to West Virginia. So make sure you stay tuned in here because I have some stuff for you. I'm hearing a lot about Woody Marks in my Michael Jackson voice. I'm telling you, hey, just make sure you go to my Twitter page and follow me. I'm gonna put that out before I go on my date with my wife. Hold on. Ain't shit to do in Bristol but drink apparently. So hold on. So Tay, I gotta get ready to go because I think my wife, she getting ready to get off. Because I gotta get ready for my date. Tay, before I get up out of here, right? Tay, you telling me that somebody on ESPN said CJ Stroud has more to prove than Trevor Lawrence? We talking about the same Trevor Lawrence? Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Hold on for a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I got something I need to see. Hold on. Because I want to make sure I got this right. Hold on. Hold on. Pro Football Reference. Let's go right here. Is it more? It gives me the. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. Y'all know I like to share my screen. Let me share this screen real quick. This Trevor Lawrence? This one right here. This Trevor Lawrence, who only got 2 playoff appearances? Well, we talking about the same Trevor Lawrence that in CJ's rookie season in Week 18, when it was a must-win situation for the Houston Texans, they had to win in order to get into the playoffs. At least be a wild card participant in the playoffs. Week 18, they went into Indianapolis and they won. They went in Indianapolis and they won that game. And then all the Jacksonville Jaguars had to do was win that Sunday because they played on, I think the Texans played Saturday like at 8 or 9. And then they were waiting on the results of from the next day of the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans. And all Jacksonville had to do was win. They would get into the playoffs and they would win the AFC South. But if they lose, they miss the playoffs entirely. And the Texans win the AFC South. We talking about that same Trevor Lawrence that when he was under pressure, he folded. When CJ was under pressure, he excelled. We talking about that? That's the one we're talking about? That one. Let me see. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. No, that ain't what I want to look at. What do I want to see? Hold on. What am I looking for? That's not what I'm looking for. Y'all give me a second. Is this one? Nope. Let me go back one more time. This may be what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. This Trevor Lawrence? This one. This Trevor Lawrence. This one? No, there's got to be another Trevor Lawrence. There's got to be another one, right? Even if you take away last season where he got hurt, and I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence hates the number 0 right now. He hates the number 0 or anything that starts with an A. Because what Aziz did to him, sheesh. I'm pretty sure he still has nightmares about that. When they play the Texans, he going to look over there and he going to be like, damn, he back. Mama, there go that man again. Trevor Lawrence going to look across and see 0, going to see Aziz right there in the middle. He going to be like, Mama, there go that man again. So even if we take away 2024, where he only played in 10 games, you go back to his previous 3 seasons, 8-8, 9-8, 3-14. So 8-8 is 16 plus 14 is 30. So he got 30 losses, right? 30 losses and 20-30. 20-30 in his first 3 years. Let's see. Stroud. CJ. Let's see what Coleridge is. Coleridge Bernard Stroud the 4th. He's played in 32 games. He's 19-13 in 2 years. So in 2 years, he almost passed. In 2 years, he almost passed what Trevor Lawrence did in his first 3 years. We can't be talking about the same. Tay, y'all lying to me. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do fans at Greenbrier. First Take is nothing but rage bait every segment. Even Chris Canny said that Trevor has too many weapons and hasn't been able to get over the hump. Someone said that Trevor does just enough to get the coach fired. Tay, you know what? I ain't even had no liquor, and I feel like I'm drunk. I feel like I'm buzzed off of that. That alone got me intoxicated. And I ain't had nothing but a Celsius and a water. Ready to go already. Yep. First Taking ESPN as a joke. They have become reality TV. Yep. Senior Bobley, you are right. CJ has proved more than Goldilocks. I'm done, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to go on a date with my wife. I am not finna sit here and justify and dignify this foolishness that CJ Stroud needs to prove more than Trevor Lawrence. CJ done won the AFC South 2 years in a row. CJ done won wild card game 2 years in a row. And in 2 years, that's without his full offense. That's without everybody healthy on the offensive side of the ball. He's done more in 2 years than Trevor Lawrence has done in his career. And you saying what? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Huh? What you on, Holmes? Dope or dog food? What you know about Big Daddy Kane, Senior Boblé? What you on? I'm going to take my family to the movies. I had to take out alone. Y'all going to see Superman? I ain't seen Superman yet. I want to see Superman and the Fantastic Four. Hey, man, I'm about to get up out of here. Tay, man. Hey, Kevin Clark, have the day that you deserve. Ain't that what they say? Have the day that you deserve, Kevin Clark. Because that's the most asinine statement I have heard in my life. That's the dumbest shit I've heard in a very long time. And I've heard some dumb stuff here in the last week. But that is terrible. That's dumb. CJ got to prove more than... You've been tuned into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. They said you can't buy wine, but you can. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk, all one word, podcast and YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that YouTube channel. I'm about to just drop 50. Anyway, I'm about to drop a lot of exclusive content on that YouTube channel just for y'all, just for the supporters of Big Sarge. Man, I appreciate everything that you all have done for me. And hey, man, keep it locked right here. We'll be back tomorrow as the Houston Texans, tomorrow meaning Saturday. We'll be back on Saturday as the Houston Texans will have day 4 of training camp. And currently it's raining. I think it's supposed to rain Saturday morning too. They can practice in the rain, but if it's lightning, they're not going to practice. They can't practice if the weather conditions are like that as far as lightning is concerned. They practice in the rain. I've been out in the rain, but they can't practice the lightning. And so if that happens, they have to go inside of the bubble. But there was no day 3 recap because I knew that I was coming to do a happy hour, and it wasn't really anything that happened on day 3. Just walk through and the interviews that we had. So. But we will be back here on Saturday for another Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and another Texans Happy Hour. Man, I love y'all. If don't nobody else tell y'all, bring it in. Give me a hug. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.